So I want to get into some practical advice for the email marketers out there.
Can you break the mold and stand out?
I've been wanting a solution like this.
So I was just like, hey, can I jump in there and do something with it? And within a couple of years, it was generating millions of dollars.
All right, we are live with Mike Nelson. How are you, brother?
What's up? Hey, man.
I love it. I've been looking forward to this for a while. You've been out of the country, but glad to have you back. Looking forward to hearing your story. So, Be Free, Mike Nelson. Who is Be Free? Who is Mike? Could you just give us a little background, kick us off on the right foot here?
Yeah, I wonder how many people start with like, I like the long walks on the beach. And
Yeah. A lot of that. Yeah, mostly.
Nice. Yeah, that's mostly how you roll, right? On the show, like it's like a dating show for marketers or
Mostly. Just, what's what CMO's like?
no. Let's see. I've been doing this for long time, almost 20 years. This is sad. Like this is the OG SEO days, But I got started in SEO and PPC, and during that whole phase, you're doing tons of analysis and like Excel, and you have Excel sheets, and you still do the Excel. Like you know it, you're in it, right? And what I saw was like we got tons of traffic and tons of conversions from email, and it was just like this non-owned channel. So I was just like, hey, can I jump in there and do something with it? And within a couple of years, it was generating millions of dollars and became our top channel for the business. And it was like so predictable. We knew this week, this day, with this offer, with this segment of users, we were just going to get, this amount of money. And if it went well, we'd get even more money. And if it didn't go well, we did something wrong. Whereas like, you had the Panda update, you had all sorts of stuff like messing with your SEO, and you had new competitors coming in on PPC land. And I was like, dude, this is easy. Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I got started, in email a long time ago.
And what company was this with? I've been looking at your background, but this is all like early 2000s? You were doing this?
Yeah. This is with a company called skincarerx.com, which despite its name was not pharmaceutical grade, but we convinced people that they thought it was pharmaceutical grade. So
yeah.
And it was a great domain. It brought, it was an SEO powerhouse, tons of, that's where I learned a lot of the SEO hacks. And that essentially grew the newsletter list organically really well.
Right.
And so we'd capture people on exit intent and all sorts of stuff, add them to the newsletter list and give them specific deals, triggered automated emails from there. And so, that was a long time ago. And then I went off speaking circuit, started speaking about email, and specifically in e-commerce, and how important it was and how much revenue it could drive. And everyone's speaking about, their Facebook campaigns, and nobody's talking about email. And then this started I just started creating all these or curating all these emails that I thought were awesome. And then people are like, hey, how can I get that? And I'd forward it and it'd break. You know how forwarding works. It's not the greatest example. Plus I have to remember the email, and it's like, I'll just put this on a website. And that's really how it started. It was just like
That's how really good email started, right?
That's how really good email started. Just us saying like, why doesn't it exist? Why aren't there good examples on the web of emails that are cool and great and successful? And so
it started out like a Craigslist kind of a thing. Like, who do you know that's good? Like, what email do you know that's good, that's well designed? Is there a place where I can come get it? And you started building this community almost by accident.
Yeah, for sure. Like, well, kind of by accident. I mean, again, I had the background in SEO, so we had optimized the site pretty well with WordPress and some other plugins, making sure it did all the right things technically and had the right keywords. And then my partner, Matthew Smith, was really popular on Twitter, had a really good following. So we launched it and told people about it. So that's kind of what brought the first wave of people in, was either organically or through Matthew's connections. I'm not popular. That wasn't me at all.
You're popular to me, Mike.
So then, and then somebody found or hunted us on Product Hunt, and we were a product of the day. And that just like skyrocketed the site even more. And again, it was good.
What year was this where you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually a business?
The business side came way longer.
Okay. Right.
It was like, it took us probably 4 or 5 years to really understand how to make money off of it. And when I say make money, I was like, that's like date night money. It wasn't even, it was enough to pay our developers, which were full time, and so they got it. We didn't pay ourselves really at all the whole time we
Right.
owned it until we sold it to Be Free, which is where I'm with now. So, but it was a labor of love, nights and weekends, adding to it. 4 guys and some developers who rolled in and rolled out, working on it with us, and yeah, it was just a labor of love that we just loved doing because nobody else was doing it.
Was it like, Seth Godin talks about this concept of earning permission and speaking to tribes. I imagine that fed into the labor of love. Like, hey, here's this community that's actually really cool, that's maybe overlooked because they're email marketers or they're direct, but they're curating these lists. I mean, maybe MailChimp was somebody that was really powerful, but like y'all, I mean, nights and weekends not getting paid 10 years. I mean, what was the labor of love for you? What was it, that idea that we can invite people into conversations over email?
Well, there's definitely stress. If you talk to my wife, she'll tell you it was
Yeah,
not.
yeah. Not so many days of love all the time, right? Yeah, yeah,
You're an
yeah.
entrepreneur, you know how it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, when we first started, we actually reached out to Mailchimp and said that like, hey, we're going to launch this thing. Do you want to sponsor it? And so from day one, we had all of our costs, all of our server costs handled. We had enough money to kind of go to conferences and speak at things. So we had like a sponsorship or advertising model from the get go that helped pay for it. But yeah, like this is a community that still doesn't have any resources. Like
Right,
at the university, I used to teach a university class on digital marketing. It's not even in the program. So
right.
you fall into email marketing because you get a job in digital marketing or something else like social or something. And they're like, hey, can you do this for me? And then you have to learn it on the job. There's just not a lot of people teaching it. And if they are, they're kind of like the Nigerian prince kind of guy who's trying to scam you. And you see lots of like
Not the
YouTube.
community I was wanting to foster. Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And so there's like this back when Twitter was cool. There used to be like this hashtag email geeks topic that you could follow, and it's kind of like people just sharing their ideas and what was working, what was not working, was breaking certain like Outlook clients or Gmail, and why you were landing this, the promotions tab, and it was people doing analysis and what was getting clicks and how to build your segments, and it was all like open source. You know how like you jump into a website, you right click and you like inspect and you see all
Yes.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
HTML. You can't do that in email, right? It goes
Right.
into your ESP or it goes into your inbox, and then it's really hard to like dissect that. And so these groups on Twitter or Slack or other places would kind of open it up and say, here's your divs that are not working well, or this is how you do dynamic content with handlebar scripting and all sorts of stuff, and teaching people how to do that. And so we were part of that first wave of teaching people and inspiring them and being really at the top of the funnel. Like you need an idea. Where do you go? There's no like
Wow.
Wikipedia page for this. And so, high SEO value, got there at the very top of the SERPs, and then they would essentially see the categories and the collections and the new fresh emails that hit the site. And it was kind of like this viral loop of them creating their own collection, which would feed into SEO factor of people searching for that collection name or tags that we hadn't considered. And so kind of built on itself. And then we're on the speaking circuit and worked with partners like MailChimp, Campaign Monitor, Salesforce, speaking to all their clients as well. So kind of just built on top of each other.
Oh man, that's really cool. I want to talk about Be Free and spiking the football as a founder. I want to get to that, but first, like the power of these owned lists. I think Tim Ferriss was talking on his podcast. He says the best business decision I've ever made was doing the 5 Bullet Friday. Like that's his email that he releases every Friday, and it has opened up so many opportunities for people that I tried email, maybe I didn't do it right. I mean, we do a newsletter now. We're just kind of getting back into it, trying to own that conversation with our customers. But for you, like, what are people missing out on if they're not owning these lists and having these conversations over email? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but like it's not executed well. Like, could you kind of speak into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard of the concept of like rented land, right? Where if you're building your channels on property that you don't own, let's say like you're a creator on TikTok, and then there's a government entity that says we don't want TikTok in our land anymore, and you just, I mean, what are you going to do? Or
Right.
Facebook changes the algorithm, or YouTube shorts don't work as well anymore. Like there's so many things. And so this is like a channel that people have given you their address. They want to hear from you.
Yeah.
There's really nothing stopping you from reaching that individual unless you do really bad practices. Like you're trying to you spam them too often and they mark you as spam, or you aren't set up, with the technical side of things, and Google doesn't understand what kind of sender you are and have bad IP reputation. But if you're doing things right, you essentially own that audience and you have a one-to-one relationship with them. And so really it's just finding the delta of creating or acquiring more people to that newsletter list than are unsubscribing or leaving. So you essentially need to create a flow or a rhythm that gets people in more than and liking the content you're providing, and you provide value. Really, that's what it's for, is creating that relationship with somebody, so that you are at the top of the consideration set when they think of XYZ, right? So your email today may not trigger a sale. Most of the time, it doesn't trigger a sale. But when you're purchasing, a refrigerator, you might think of maybe 2 or 3 brands, and maybe one of those brands is because it lands in your inbox every week and reminding you that it's a brand that sells refrigerators. So there's like a lot of consumer psychology that goes along with email itself that can reach an individual more or better than SEO can, or PPC can, or social can. Is like this magic sauce for
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like if you own the list and they're expecting to hear from you anyway, I mean, it's like, why wouldn't you? In the noise that's my inbox right now with cold emails and unsolicited emails, to get something from a vendor even, and they have and if it's an interesting point of view, it's like it comes down to the content, right? But yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, so fast forward me to Be Free. Like, so you spiked the football, you had an exit, you're all high fiving, no more mailbox money. This is great life, the wife's no longer upset at you. The kids are there. I mean, for that, that's too funny. But you got a new job out of it. Like you actually really loved your acquirer. I've met the team. They are awesome. But it's an Italian company. So maybe walk me through, what is Be Free now? What is this new platform? The ecosystem, it just gave you more, right? So you're now a VP of, is it VP growth, EVP growth, direct? I forgot what they do,
Yeah,
but you got
the
growth.
growth, the growth
Yeah,
guy.
tell me about Be Free. What are you guys doing? I mean, you're really dominating the space now.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about like all the people that came to Really Good Emails, we were inspiring them, we're teaching them, but there's really no action, right? They come here, they get hyped, they're like, cool, now what? And we attempted to have some features to help them collect things or scrape things, organize things. It really wasn't the doing of it. And so Beefree is essentially, it is like a drag and drop email builder. So it's a visual editor. You don't need no code. You have these approval processes. You can talk to other colleagues and they can say yes, no, they can go collaborative on it. So essentially you're taking this Really Good Emails inspiration and moving it straight into an editor where you're building the email, you're writing the content, you're dragging your images in, you're setting your links there, and then you're pushing that into your ESP like MailChimp or Salesforce or something with all the integrations. So essentially it becomes a hub for all of your emails, and does things that your ESP probably doesn't have access to. And on the other side, we have the BeFree SDK, which is, if you've used a drag and drop builder in your email editor, most likely it is the BeFree SDK. So it's an agnostic tool that, yeah, marketing platforms pay Be Free to essentially have this kit that they don't have to pay developers to maintain and develop on. And so it's just like a plug and play for the biggest ESPs out there. And so essentially you might not be even knowing that you're using Be Free, but you probably are. And then on the other side, where the app, you can use Be Free with your team and get some more collaborative features that aren't inside your ESP. So that's kind of why this marriage works really well. And so when we talk to Massimo and Nas, Massimo's the CEO of Be Free, and Nas is our parent company out of Growens, which is Italian, based out of Italy. Because they're Italian.
Yeah, there's a lot of non-Italians.
That's fair. But they're great people, and we instantly saw, the I hate the word synergy, but the value that we would create for both of us. And we had shown a little bit that we could create that value by doing some ads for Be Free in the past, and it's showing like, yeah, there's an audience here that wants to go from this to that. So we're in the process of creating these connectors. So within the RG platform, you can move over and seamlessly start building. So we're working on some of that stuff and some of the AI stuff that comes with it, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So I want to get into some practical advice for the email marketers out there. So two things. Like one, I want to get your take on design, how important design is, and then you have this wonderful quote where you say, "Build relationships, not lists." Could you like dive into each of the, how important is design, and then the other is your quote that, yeah, I think I pulled it from your LinkedIn, but like the idea of building relationships. So walk me through both of those concepts if you don't mind. I mean, that's because I want to give something of value back to the community here.
Yeah, I mean, design is essentially what can stop somebody in their tracks. So if you're, I mean, think about the old days of a magazine, right? Text, text, text. Ooh, pretty picture. Let me focus on that for a second. And it doesn't work all the time, right? And bad design is very clear to individuals, and you can even lean into bad design. You know, there's brands that like nostalgia 90s clip art style, and it's cool again, right? So having a design system and understanding what your brand stands for will help resonate with individuals later on. So if you're very consistent in your brand styling, the way you create your emails, the flow of your emails, that is all super important to actually the engagement of an email. So we like to think of it as like there's two concepts we talk about a lot, which is design golf. So the lowest score possible. So that's all your design elements, your font choices, your color schemes, the number of CTA buttons, the different kinds of images. You want to keep that score little or small.
Okay.
So like don't have 7 fonts, don't have
Right.
17 different font sizes. You want to simplify this as much as possible. The second concept we talk about is the inverted pyramid. So you're essentially taking an impactful statement or image and driving the reader down into a call to action.
Mm,
So you're prepping them with either value or a problem statement, and then you're creating intrigue or mystery or a solution that they can then get from an e-commerce store or a service or whatever it is. But that call to action is really the thing that drives the dollars. So if you don't have this big picture driving into a call to action, you're kind of doing email incorrectly too. So an email without a call to action is not the greatest, but it can work for some people to do long form who want to just be inside people's heads. And we talked about earlier about branding and just showing up in people's inboxes. So there's some consistency there that works. But those are kind of the two biggest things that we see that will have the biggest impact on your emails. And then there's all the technical side, which is like, do you have your IP configured right, or do you have good reputation, double opt in? We can talk about that for a long, long time.
that's also, yeah. So like, obviously we know organic and SEO here, but like, it's amazing to me how much CRO, like tech, science is in an email and how much SEO is actually happening on email too. Just talk to me now about the second concept, the building relationships, not lists.
That's a deep cut. I'm glad you found it because we've been harping on this for a while. The people that want to read your emails want to read them because they like you or they like your product. They don't want to just be treated like a transaction.
Mm,
Most of the things you're doing is to build value so that you can get reciprocal value from that reader later on. So essentially, you're giving, you're giving, you're giving, you're giving, and then you're like, oh, by the way, could you just do this one thing for me? And usually they're like, oh yeah, we know we were building our company for really good emails. Every week we have twice a week we send our newsletter. There's really no ask. It's just here's content, here's information, good articles to read, maybe some tips that make your life better. Here's some career choices. And then a few times in the year, we'll say, hey, we have this conference called Unspam. We'd love for you to buy a ticket. And so we've built up that value with the individual. And they're like, oh, yeah, this is something I read often. They're providing this thing. There's probably more of that there, right? The other things we do is like maybe we used to do a pro account. So we drive people to sign up for a pro or drive to one of our advertising partners.
or a referral. Do you know anybody? Could you just forward this? Yeah. I mean, that's an
Yeah,
easy ask, right?
definitely. Yeah. And that's how you grow the list. And so, really engaging with that person that way. So yeah, we like to say, people want our people. They want it. There's like this B2B realm where like, I'll send a stupid email or boring email and they'll like it. And eventually they'll buy from me or whatever. And you think like, that's not how relationships build. Right.
Yeah.
So you want to build like something where somebody engages, they like it, they think it's entertaining. There's a huge entertainment factor with email that a lot of people just gloss over. So that's really where that comes from, in understanding that the reader is a human. Uh,
Okay.
they have the same tendencies that you have, and they want to have the same drives and there's all this internal, external motivation to become better. And so, how do you tap into that?
That's awesome. Oh, that's so good. So good. Okay. I'm going to say two letters to you and you just react. You ready? AI. Go.
Oh, great. Let's unpack that one. Uh, I mean, there's, I don't know, there's good and bad. Like you probably talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
What's the AI like for SEO individuals? It can spit out a lot of crap pages and maybe rank well for the first couple weeks and then kill your site later. But those first couple weeks are great, right? So it's kind of the same way with email. Like there are some AI that can spit out a newsletter for you, right? And just done. Like I spend hours every week creating our newsletter because I'm constantly writing it and editing it myself and seeing if the jokes are bad. And so AI was doing that. I've started training AI to help me do this. It makes that process a lot faster. But then do you start losing your brand because you're starting to sound like, because an LLM is essentially a statistical model of what word comes next. So are you like talking like some other people, or is it expected the way you talk? Now GPT-5 is a whole other thing. It's probably a lot smarter and that will be get better for us. So there's like, I don't know, there's goods and bads, and goods, that's not a word. Good and bad.
It's good. Yeah, it was plural.
Yeah,
It's
let's put
plural.
that a clip that goes on to LinkedIn. Like there's goods and bads.
Goods and bad. This was a human. Mike is real because he said goods, right? Yeah. Yeah, I would never do that. Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're spot on. I think in a world where people, I mean, okay, aside from people having relationships with AI companions, right? But like for the most part, people still want to buy for people. I mean, that's where the buying cycle is. And again, if they signed up for, I'm getting these emails, and I think you said lazy. Like I look at, I have my feed, I have the news feeds, I've read all the stuff. You don't need just to regurgitate all the news stories and send it to me. Like that's not really what I wanted. But if you had an opinion, and I respect you, and I signed up for your for your email, I mean that's totally different. And don't put a bunch of emojis and headers and whatever AI does. I mean like that's just blatant. I can get that anywhere. But I can't get Mike's take on what the latest thing is that's happening, or a point of view that's counterintuitive that I hadn't thought of before. I mean, that's the part about AI is derivative. It's just regurgitating what's out there. Yeah, you might use it to prompt and have ideas, but like, what's between the white lines here? What's happening? Like, that's what I'm coming to your email for.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think we'll continue to look at experts for their opinions and for thinking and strategizing the way that other people don't think, right?
Mhm.
What's counterintuitive here? What are we not thinking about? Who's the voice that's actually bringing that to the top? But then on the other side, you have AI, which is simplifying and making things easier, like segmentation, right? So you probably have a bunch of people on your list who are interested in maybe like more of a technical SEO side, and you have some people on your list who are more on the content side of your list, right? And so you could bifurcate with AI pretty easily the people that are engaging with certain links in your newsletter and saying these people will forevermore get technical stuff and these people will get more content stuff. And so that process I think is going to alleviate some of the burden that is in email.
Right.
A lot of like, when do you send, and what's your subject line, and what's your CTA, like all that can be optimized with AI a lot better. But I think the general themes, the topics, that's still going to sit better with an individual who can create that spark, right? And then
Yeah.
maybe using the AI to make it better.
Yeah, the 100%. I think the idea that if you're creating these internal wikis, like things that we believe that are just yours, and create a strategy based on what we believe or analyze, we do it. It's like, hey, based on our standard practices, the way that we view web pages and things that we think are most in order of priority, look at this web page. What would you suggest? And then we tweak it from there. I mean, like that's absolutely automation and saves a ton of time, especially when it was, hey, that's something maybe a junior associate would do, and then pass it up to the senior. Now that just is a lot faster and we can take on more. So yeah, I think the flip side is, yeah, it's awesome.
Auditing your page, auditing your sitemap, like that used to be a pain in the butt for me and my team. And now you can
Yeah.
have an AI analyze it and say, oh, you're missing this schema. You need markup here, or you need, that's all great.
Yeah.
I think what's missing is like when Mueller comes out with a topic, like yesterday that really changes the conversation. But because of how AI and LLMs are built, it doesn't have that information built into the LLM yet. So it may
Right.
be giving old tactics to something that's
Mhm.
changing because AI's or SEO is constantly changing. Same with email. Email is always changing based off of how your engagement is attributed to your inbox placement, or there's all sorts of stuff there. And so, like the industries that really change a lot can use AI to simplify things, but it's really going to need somebody who's on their pulse on things that are just updating in the industry. So,
Yeah. So what about like on the creator side? I mean, this is something was it Cosmo? They came out with these AI generated models and
mhm.
because they don't call in sick, they don't complain, and they're really, really cheap. You know, they they look exactly on brand and they never have to worry about diversity anymore for the call. But there's something like just categorically wrong about that. It's like taking jobs from people trying to work as models. I wonder about that sometimes. I like this VO3 and I gosh, and see Grok 4's new how fast it's making videos. I mean, like Vine's back with the AI, like if that was Elon's. But how, in your view, I mean, you support creator communities, design, all of that. Like, do you think that's going to have impact on your communities?
Yes and no. I mean, you'll have illustrators who use Figma AI to speed up the process of, here's a concept. And if that concept might take me a couple of hours to wireframe and really hone in, whereas vibe coding and telling it what you want, and then from there, really tweaking and making it better. I think that's good. Writers in particular, I think, are really scared about what's going to happen with their job. But like I said, if you have novel ideas and have a good tone of voice and people follow you because of what you write, I think you're a little bit more safer than somebody who might be just like an analyst or a
Yeah.
consultant. And so then, yeah, so I think those two are like kind of the biggest in disruption land at the moment, but they also have the ability to kind of break out
Yeah.
and do things themselves.
Yeah, I could make a VO commercial for sure, Oak, but like I got a buddy who's a photographer. He understands light, he understands angles, and he's got a buddy that does storytelling. So when they do their VO video, I'm like, oh, dude, that's so much better.
Yeah.
So much better than any because you understand it. Like that's what you do. I think the same is for writers. If you're a good editor, you know a good story, you know something stands out and it's going to capture attention. You know that instead if you're just a if you're a cog in a wheel copywriter, just your factory, those factory copywriters are going to be shipped out. But the ones that are good, that capture attention, that get clicks, that I still think those people are high demand and they're going to be even better. I think there was a study about even developers. The good developers got way better than the ones that were average developers who weren't going to use AI anyway because they never adopted the new tool anyway. It was just that seems to be the displacement right now.
Yeah, you think about time on site, right? Like this is a key contributor of how Google values that page, along with like the backlinks, right? So if you think of how email works, you want that same engagement. You want people scrolling through the email. You want them clicking on CTAs. You want them forwarding that email to a friend or a colleague. You want them replying because of something in the email. And all those things are good indicators to an inbox provider that you're a safe, valuable thing, right? An entity. And so, really, the same principles that you learn in SEO land can be applied to email pretty easily. And so, anyone who's done SEO, I love them working on my teams because I feel like, oh, you understand this content is super good because it's engaging, it's funny, and
Yeah.
right versus like this is only 3 sentences and it's boring to read, and it's like everybody else that sends me an email, just like every
Right.
other page on the web on the internet. I'm not going to read it. I don't care about it. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's some tactics there that help out.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, that's what I mean, people come to us for SEO, and I guess there's two types of clients that will seek us out, and some just only think it's technical. It's like your citations and it's my metadata and it's my headers. Like that's all got to be right, right? And it's just a formula. Well, no, because at the end of the day, the AI or the algorithm, whatever you want to call it, is trying to be a proxy for trust, right? Is trying to fulfill the demand, the keyword query with good content that it's gonna make you trust that's a good site to click on. That's a good vendor to trust. And I think that's the thing with AI for me in this world, like whether it summarizes your email or what, it's gonna make a human-esque validation of that email. Is it trustworthy? Is it worth being a summary? if AI is doing my emails for me, is gonna like shift through or sift through what I should be reading, it's gonna like make some validation and some decisions about like, yeah, you should read this one. This is an email that has a very unique point of view I haven't seen in your other emails, and you've been wanting a solution like this, or you've been wanting to have this conversation. That's where we're going with email.
Or you have, EAT in the SEO world, and email almost has something similar because it takes a look at your IP and all the emails that get sent from that IP, how many get opened, how many get clicked, how many are opt-in, right? And so it's creating a trust background based on what you're sending. So the better sender you are, the more natural and engaging and all those things, the more you resonate with the audience, the better trust you get with those inbox. So it's again similar to how you build trust.
Yeah, so let's say like agentic email, management, right? So there's EAT coming in, but like I'm going to give it my own EAT for my inbox. Like these are the topics I'm interested. These are the people I like. These are the solutions I'm looking for. This is the stuff to ignore. Don't give me anything that's outside of that. And so like, on the SEO side, will we have agentic crawlers now going out and finding just the sites that I want? It's already doing that to a certain degree, but are our websites, do we have case studies? Do we have pricing? Do we have comparisons? Are we all these other things agentically ready for the agentic website? It's still got to be pretty for the human when they come, but it's still got to satisfy all the needs of the agent, which is then representing the human.
And SaaS email, for some reason, is like one of the most boring things ever.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You see a bunch of engineers in charge of marketing. Yes.
But like SaaS websites are super boring. Like
hero image, click, feature.
Like, what's the worst gobbledygook of, I don't know who Jared Blank is. He's got this great program called Gobbledy. Can you break the mold and stand out? There's some great brands that do this on the South side. You've got Miro, who's kind of more casual. You've got SEMrush or Ahrefs, who have a little bit more personality. And like, that's what people want. Again,
the guys that ClickUp, I mean, they're not afraid to be funny and out there. I mean, they're competing with Monday, and some of these other brands were a little bit more straightforward, but like they found their voice as a challenger brand. I mean, like I dig that.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if I get a Slack email, I'm not reading it. Like there's nothing in that email that's, even if it's like a new feature, I'm going to be like, hi, it just is not speaking to me right now. So
yeah. Well, Mike, this has been really fun. I mean, I love this channel. I mean, my first startup was the only digital marketing channel available to us. That dates me a little bit. That's what digital marketing was, emails.
Yeah.
And now it's definitely gone beyond. So dude, thank you so much. Where can people find you? Anything you want to promote, or you just promote yourself and really good emails?
Yeah, go to reallygoodemails.com or befree.io. Those are the two best places to find inspiration or creation. And then my LinkedIn, just Mike Nelson, just like Mike Nelson email or Mike. Mike Nelson's such a unique name, so that like you'll find. There's only one of me, so it'd be really easy to find. But yeah, Mike Nelson email should probably bring me up to the top.
I'm definitely the only Nick Fraunfelder on LinkedIn. I can guess. Mike, thank you for the time. Love your story. Love what you're doing at RGE and Be Free. It's been fun to watch, and go use their stuff. It's been really fun. So thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Nick.